Tom Wilson has just been suspended for 6 games for whacking Noah Gregor in the face. Here is a bit of the explanation that the NHL Department of Player Safety gave for suspending Tom Wilson for 6 games.
Gregor enters the Washington zone on the rush, with Wilson back-checking behind him. Wilson finishes a legal body check on Gregor as the Capitals gain control of the puck and move it behind the net to begin a breakout. As Wilson and Gregor separate after the hit, Wilson draws his stick back, then swings it forward in an extremely reckless fashion, making direct and forceful contact with Gregor's face. It is important to note that Wilson is solely in control of his actions throughout this play. While we acknowledge Wilson's assertion that he did not mean to strike Gregor in the face, the fact remains that Wilson's stick is drawn back behind him, then swung forcefully and recklessly into his opponent. This is not a case in which two players are fully engaged in influencing each other's actions, nor is it a case in which a player is off balance and his stick swings during an attempt to regain his footing. Wilson's actions on this play are fully under his own control, irresponsible, and not related to any sort of legitimate hockey action. He is accountable for the dangerous result of the play, which is a direct and forceful blow to an opponent's head by a player with a substantial track record of supplemental discipline. To summarize, this is high sticking. Wilson has been suspended 5 times and fined 3 times during his 746-game NHL career. The Department of Player Safety has suspended Tom Wilson for 6 games.
This isn't a Tom Wilson defense show, but a part of this is and needs to be that the Department of Player Safety makes no sense in their explanations, because what we have here is Tom Wilson accidentally hitting Noah Gregor in the face. I truly believe that the malice and the intent there was not to whack Noah Gregor in the face. And Noah Gregor himself, when spoken to about the whack in the face, said that, oh, he thinks it's accidental. Nobody in the league is trying to do that stuff. It's not what he meant to do. And I think everybody watched that play, and based on the reaction on Thursday from Leafs fans and all of us who watched the game, there was no giant outrage about the play in particular when it happened. At the moment, nobody reacted and was up in arms about Tom Wilson hurting Noah Gregor and smacking him in the face with the stick. It wasn't until afterwards then the story started bubbling. We heard that he's being offered an in-person hearing, which means the suspension could be 5 or more games. And we're like, whoa, is this actually a big deal? And then when you go back and watch the video, you see that it is very reckless. It is an extremely reckless play that Tom Wilson has in the moment. He clearly went to go hit Gregor with his stick, but not intentionally in the face, probably somewhere in the body. And for this suspension to be 6 games, the NHL had to look at this and say, okay, we understand that you didn't mean to do it in the face, but we are punishing you because you're Tom Wilson. And that's where the awkward part comes in, where I have to defend a guy who has been suspended for 5 times in his career so far. This is the 6th suspension in his career, has been fined 3 times. So 6 suspensions now total, 3 fines. Now it's about defending him in this case, because the Department of Player Safety likes to take liberties with the way they hand out suspensions. According to their own rules on NHL.com under the Department of Player Safety FAQ, they outline one of the questions in the FAQ is, the frequently asked questions is, what is a repeat offender? Under that question, they themselves answer, a player is considered a repeat offender for 18 months following his most recent incident that resulted in a suspension. His status as a repeat offender in this category is used to determine the amount of salary forfeited should he receive another suspension. It is important to note that even if a player is not defined as a repeat offender, his past history may come into consideration when determining future supplemental discipline. And if we take a look at when the last time Tom Wilson was suspended, it is March 6th, 2021, when he was suspended 7 games for boarding Brandon Carlo. The way that is worded bothers me. The repeat offender rule is black and white because of the salary involved. When you are suspended, you forfeit a certain amount of salary, and that can go up if you are a repeat offender. Tom Wilson, in this case, is not a repeat offender by the black and white issue of how much salary he will forfeit. But that second paragraph there, where you are told that, okay, under our guidelines of the salary forfeiture, we are not taking into consideration if somebody is a repeat offender. But if we choose to, in unique circumstances, suspend somebody based on how much of a jerk they are, we maintain those liberties and those rights. And I don't really like that. I don't like that it's arbitrary. And that is the issue. All of these suspensions are pulled out of thin air. Looking at everything that has happened, you say Morgan Riley, you look at his history, because the NHL said that we will look in certain cases, if we choose to, whether or not we want to take into consideration who this guy is and what he's done in the past. They said, okay, Morgan Riley, though, he's done nothing in the past. Let's give him this amount of games. Let's give him 5 games. But Tom Wilson now, they're taking into consideration his history. I think 6 is probably the right number when you take into account everything that Tom Wilson has done. It is a lifetime achievement award, even though he's had a 20-game suspension that was reduced to 14. His last one was for 7. It's not even a lifetime achievement award. It's just, you've been here so many times. We know your face. You are so familiar. We can't put up with this anymore. Go sit in the corner for 6 games. We're punishing the Caps who are chasing a playoff spot. We're done with you. That's the punishment here. And I don't like how it's arbitrary. I don't like how the NHL Department of Player Safety gets to pick and choose who they want to discipline hard and who they want to let off the hook based on how they're feeling about that guy in the moment. I think that's unfair. 6 games makes sense if we're judging Tom Wilson based on everything he's done. 6 games doesn't make sense for the action. I feel like if we take into consideration if this guy's a good guy, we got to do that every time. Or live and die by the hard and fast 18-month rule. Pick one. Pick one and choose so we know what we're getting into when we hear that there's going to be a suspension handed down. Fans around the league have no idea what's coming when a player is about to be suspended. And it's because of vague rules like this. And I think that's unfair. And I think the NHL should be held to some sort of rule book and standard where it's not just, let's leave everything vague. Let's leave everything up to interpretation. So when the next guy does something that he can get suspended for, it's just up to our discretion of how we're feeling at the moment. Make it make sense, please. That's all I want from the NHL. I don't think anybody suspected that when they watched this incident happen on Wednesday night, when you're watching it live, no one said this is going to lead to 6 games. And that is a problem. That's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. Write in the comments below where you land on if the suspension is correct, if it's too much, is too little, if it's correct but wrong right for the wrong reasons, or right for the wrong reasons. Let me know what you think. If you prefer this as audio, subscribe to the Jesse Blake Sports Report on audio. If you want this as a video, head over to our YouTube channel, Jesse Blake Sports Report YouTube channel. Subscribe there. Thank you for being here. It could be anywhere in the world. We should be watching this right now, and I appreciate you for that. Good night from Toronto.